Hello there, chaps and chaptesses. Welcome to my channel, Dax, or doing all kinds of stuff. Now, I did want to get a couple of other videos done before I did this one, but this one's a nice and quick one, so let's get ahead. Now, I'm in my folks' driveway at the moment, so a bit of a change of scenery. I am wanting to do a stop for my Mitre Saw. There's a few projects that I've done, and I've needed to cut several lengths at the same, well, as exact as I can get them at the same length, and I've ended up bodging a bit of wood together and screwed a stop to it and did it that way, as you'll see in my bunk bed video. But I decided to try and make a half decent one that I could take anywhere. So all I'm doing is I've got my CLS construction timber, which is 63mm by 38mm, and I've screwed one to the front of it, and that's just basically to level it up. And now I'm screwing a large beam to the back of it, and I'm trying to get it as square as possible, because I don't know quite how square the base is, but it's always worth trying to do it as square and straight as possible. But I've clamped a piece of scrap wood onto the back of it and just pushed it flush, and I've got some big head, I think it's 6mm by 40mm screws to go in there to hold it in place. And the length of the wood doesn't really matter. You can do it to suit whatever length you're cutting at the time. I've just tried doing it out of a full length of, I think it's 2.4 meters. I might cut that down a bit later on, but we'll see. So once I've got the main base done, I'm just going to do the stop itself, which is quite straightforward. Now, most of you may notice that I haven't actually got a guard on my Mitre Saw. I did end up breaking it. It caught on the blade somehow. I'm not quite entirely sure how it did, but it twisted and broke. I've been meaning to fix it and put it back on, but unfortunately haven't at the moment, so I have to make do with what I've got, and I've got precious little time as it is, so I just have to make do, and I'm very wary of the blades, so please do not do as I'm doing. It is very dangerous. And also, you can see when I'm cutting, I've got no form of extraction or bag on it. I have got an old Vax Hoover that I do want to hook up as an extraction, because I do keep a lot of the sawdust for other projects, but at the moment that's in the loft, and it's a to be continued sort of project. Now here with the stop, again, I'm trying to get it as flush as possible. I've got a couple of scrap bits of wood. I always keep my scrap bits of wood because you never know when they come in handy for things like this. Now, I didn't actually make any plans or anything. I just had a thought in my head and just thought, try and get it done as quickly as possible. It didn't really take very long to do this, probably about an hour or so. So it is well worth doing, especially if you're looking at doing projects that are cutting stuff, especially on the go and anywhere. You know, I do some bits for my folks and my sister, and obviously at mine, and I don't have any sort of a shop or anything, so being able to set this up on a driveway or a path is very advantageous in my mind, so it's well worth doing. Now, as I'm at my folks' place, I did actually forget my countersink, so I've just got a 10mm bit, and just taking the top off of it very carefully, so I don't actually drill a 10mm hole. I'm just doing an old-fashioned countersink without actually using a countersink. So I'm just screwing it together at the moment. I do take it home and I take it apart and I put the glue and screw, because obviously that will hold a damn sight better than just the screws itself. And you want it to be fairly stable, especially if you're using it as a stop and you're going to be butting wood up to it and quite continuously. You don't want it to wiggle loose or anything. The whole idea of this is to get it so that all the pieces are the same length. Now here I actually do make a mistake. I'm actually marking the centre, so I put the back piece set down halfway, as you can see there, but that isn't actually necessary. Can't speak, but never mind. I do correct it later on, which you'll see in the video, but it's just I never thought with the size of this construction timber, you can put one on its side and the two beams will fit with a bit of clearance together. So I put it flush later on, and especially where I set it up, I don't know where I'm going to be setting it up. I don't know whether there's going to be ground clearance or not, so you do want it flush if you can get it. So just taking my time, making sure it's as square as possible. Again, it doesn't have to be hugely accurate, because once you've got it clamped in place and set, it's relatively straightforward to just cut over and over and over again. And there you go, you can see I've moved it, and I'm just going to re-drill the pilot holes. Now because I'm using quite thick screws, it's always worth doing pilot holes, just to be sure that the wood doesn't split. This wood generally, if you're screwing into the centre of it, it doesn't generally split, but where I drilled the holes are quite on the edge, so not the ideal place, and I do put a third screw in the middle and further down, just to hold it in place a bit more securely. My actual screw holder, I think the magnet's either fallen out or broken or something. It's not holding in place anymore, so I do lose the screw head quite frequently, unfortunately. But again, I make do. I've got a couple more holders somewhere else in another tool bag. I've got loads of tool bags scattered around the place. Need to organise things, but at the moment, again, it's making do with the precious little time that I've got. So as you can see, it's all coming together now, and I hope you see where I'm going with this. It will just sit on that beam that I can slide up and down and set to whatever length I want, and there you have the main base of the stop. Now this is actually lower than the table of the Mitre Saw, so I need a bit sticking up to be the actual stop itself. So I'm just putting again another scrap bit of wood on the edge to use as the stop, and again I'm trying to make it square. I'm just using another couple of pieces of scrap wood to push it flush with the edges, and trying to hold it all together is a bit difficult. I suppose I could have used a clamp, but I had limited tools with me and I just wanted to get it done. So again, and it also would help if I had a second or third drill that had the two different sizes of drill bits in it and then one for the screw. But for some reason I seem to kill. I do have a couple of other cordless drills, but I just kill the batteries. They just die, and it's just not worth rebuying the new batteries. You can buy a brand new drill for the same price as a battery these days, which seems ridiculous. And this drill is my first lithium battery pack for the drills, and I've got 2 battery packs with this one, so hopefully it will last me a little bit longer. The previous ones I've had the nickel metal hydride, and I think they're the ones that die because of the dendrites that form in them. So we'll see how long this lasts. I'm not sure what the cycles of the batteries are. I think usually they're rated to about 1,000 cycles, so hopefully it'll be not too bad. It was a cheap drill, so I'm not too fussed. If anything, I'll just use my corded drill in the future. Most places I go, I have a long enough extension lead to do whatever I need to do, and it's variable speed, so I've always got that to fall back on. Right, so just finishing this up. Got a couple of screws in, and again I put a third screw in the middle, a bit further along, just to hold it securely. And I think I might replace this at some point so it's the full length of it, because I've got a smaller mitre saw that I can use the same sort of setup with, and I'm not sure that small stop at the very edge will work with that, but again, we'll see. This sliding mitre saw again was a cheap saw, so it doesn't cut hugely accurately, but it's not too bad. Sounds like easier than doing it by hand, either way. Right, so putting the last screw in, and once that's done, it's pretty straightforward. That just goes on the back, and you can clamp it to whatever position you want, and butt your wood up to it, and all wood will be cut to that length, and you can slide it up and down and set it to whatever you want. Now I may in the future do one where I actually put a built-in clamp, but I've got that bar clamp, so don't think it's really necessary at the moment. It does the job. So there you have it. Hope that's of use to you, and thanks very much for watching.